Another new job. This is going to be an interesting one, this one. Now, we're in a, like you say, we're in a room, used to be a garage, but it's in the process of being converted. You can see there's two doors behind me now rather than a garage door. Now, we're going to be putting in some lights and some sockets, but this room's being split into different rooms. So there's going to be potentially three different lighting circuits, a socket circuit, and an outside light. The client has laid out some bits and pieces to help me locate where the cabling should go, where the internal walls are going to go, things like this. We're going to put some temporary lights in just to keep the lighting in here, and then the proper lights will go in at a later stage. Got some complications which I'll show you in a second, and I'll show you what we've got in here already and what we're going to have to modify. So let's just show you around. Let's start the front of that properly. Anyway, cool. Okay, so that door goes to the main house. That door goes straight outside. So the client has very helpfully laid down, this is where the wall is going to go for that, and that's basically going to be the gas cover. So when the gas balls arrive, gas balls are old fashioned, shows my age, they can look at that and look at the gas meter and all that stuff. That's been moved apparently. You can see that the bonding cable is running off to the consumer unit, which I'll show you in a second. So that's the interior wall there. So we're going to put a light in there, and that's what that cross is for. That cross there. And then we've got to find a place for the light switch. Now we can't put it there, and we can't put it on the other side because that door opens that way. So might have to be a pull cord switch there. So that's the first issue. So the second thing is the rest of this room, as you can see. Currently we've got a strip light in place, but we're going to have a light there. The plan is to have a light there, a light there, and a light there. So that's three, but probably there might be a fourth, but I don't know. So there's going to be three lights here. As you can see there, there's a 1.5 cable already laid to that light, so that's done. Back of the room, so this is the other wall that's going in across there. So we're going to need a light, one or two lights in this section. The light switch is going in behind that piece of tarpaulin there, so that's where that is. Then that door comes out. I believe this is a solid, I'm not pretty sure that I think this is a solid wall. It doesn't really matter for the electrics, but anyway. Now the ceiling's not been plastered, so that's not happening. So, but the client's asked not to drill into the wall, into the ceiling. So what's really good about this is I can intercept this cable and use this cable to power all the lights in all the rooms. And it's coming down, coming down there into the board, and it's actually on that MCB. So all I'm going to do is reuse that cable, probably get rid of that light switch we'll have to get rid of, and we'll have to replace that piece of conduit, but that's fine. We can reuse that cable, get some quick wire bits and bobs that we can install, and put some temporary lights into those bobs. Your uncle should be reasonably straightforward, and I won't have to touch the main house electrics at all. I am going to be testing this, making sure that there's no issues with the cable before I start. It probably isn't because the light's working, but we'll just check it anyway. Now the other thing that the client's wanting to have is to have an extra socket here. Now we've got two sockets there, but I can't come across that way because that's the main incoming cable. So I can't come across that. So what we're going to do is we're going to reuse this piece of conduit, and that's already got a 1.5 cable in there already. We're going to stick a 2.5 in there, T-piece in there, conduit across there, down to that socket. Easy job. A little bit more stuff that we need to do, but anyway. So yeah, so we're going to extend that cable. It's going to be extended that way, and obviously we're going to have to tee it off, junction box it, and tee it off into here. So this whole room, all three of these rooms, will be controlled by that switch, and then we've got the garage sockets there, and they're all connected to that RCD. The property's due an inspection as part of the job I'm actually doing. Going to inspect it. It's actually got full paperwork for all the electrics that were done. Anyway, we'll get on. I'm going to draw some diagrams up and do some testing first before I start doing things, and then we'll get on with this. We've got an outside light to put in as well, which is the other side of this door. There's another door, there's a porch, and then this door, then there's an outside light. And what they've requested is to probably the easiest thing to do is actually use the same cable again to control the outside light. So everything on the left side of the building, which has been changed, which is what this all is. This is all changed. Will be all in one circuit. It shouldn't be an issue, and then it means I can work and leave the main building alone. I won't have to turn anything off. Yeah, good. Right, I'll just show inside the board what we've got to work with. So what we've got is this B32 is the garage sockets. Now that is, as you can see from the top, it looks like it's a ring, and if you look down here, this is the conduit going down. In there, as you can see, there's 2.5 cables running just to these two sockets. So for some reason they've put in a ring just to those two sockets, which is a bit bizarre to say the least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that over to a radial, change that 32 to a 20, and then what we'll do is we'll run a new piece of 2.5 out of there up here, and I've been able to, looks like I'm going to be able to locate a new piece of 20mm conduit up here. So this bit here is going to go across to the sockets, and that bit's going to carry on to the light. So there'll be a 1.5mm in here and a 2.5 singles will run along here, but it will be a 1.5 twin and earth in here, because obviously what we're doing up here, which is this thing. So we're going to relocate, realign this one, which runs down here into here, and then all the cables run all the way along here to there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that out and realign it down here. Then that cable can run along this beam, and it's way away from the gas pipe here, because you're not really supposed to run electrics alongside gas pipes, not really. So anyway, go on there. So I think that's what we'll do. Sorry for the door squeaking in the background. So I think that's what we'll do. So luckily I can get that squeezed between the PIR, which is part of the alarm system, and I can run that up there. It will be longer, obviously, and that will be higher up, but I'm just doing that just for proving it'll work. So realign that all up there. So 1.5 twin and earth and 2.5 singles, and they'll go that way along there. So that's fine. So we just need to convert that over to being a radial. That, by the way, I've done some measuring. That is actually in the right place. Might not look it, but it is. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So yeah, okay. And obviously, if I'm going to be realigning that, this is all coming out. This will all come out, and then I've got a blind grommet which I can fill that hole in, so I don't need to worry about that. And then there's a lockout there which we can go into behind all those bits, which is fine. Yep, we can do that. Okay, so while I've got the board off, I thought I'd get these readings ready for this. So let's bring that recall up. So there we go. So we've got 0.29 for the ZE and 837.3 amps. Right, so let's just give an update. That's where we are. My nice, very clear diagram about what I'm doing. Anyway, so very quickly, like I said, we've had that board off. So we're going to run the 2.5mm singles in that direction, 1.5. Now, this is where I was thinking about what I'm going to do up here. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring that 1.5mm up to here, But obviously then we've got to split all the cable off and going in different directions. It's dusty in here. Now that's where the one of the lights is going to go temporarily. So we're going to mount a quick wire there, sorry, and a junction box, and the junction box is going to feed the power cable through here, which is going to power this light. So there'll be a quick wire up there somewhere to do that. So quick wire here, and then the power feed and the load feed will come off here to these two lights and that light. So there's 3 lights being fed by that quick wire. Does that diagram explain that any easier? Probably not. Probably not, to be honest. Yeah, it probably doesn't explain it any easier. It explains it to me. I know what's going on. Now, over here, we had a real issue. Obviously, we've got the mains gas coming in. Now, we were originally thinking a pulse cord switch, because I can't. Then I thought maybe I could mount a normal switch. However, both of those have a problem. They're going to cause a spark. And I don't think that's a good idea near a gas pipe. Maybe I'm being overcautious, perhaps, but I don't think that's a good idea, having a switch right next to a gas pipe. So what we're going to do is somehow we're going to have this as a PIR, a sensor light, so that when this door opens, the light comes on. I think that's the safest option that we've got here, that keeps all the cables away from the gas pipes and stuff. Now, on the far side, I'll just show you down here. Behind here, that's where that switch is mounted. Now, obviously, we've got no way of getting a cable to that. So that is going to be a wireless Energy switching system that we're going to put into that. Up on there somewhere. There'll be a light up there somewhere. Anyway, so that's where we are. I've just been gathering all my gear together. I've got to go and get a 20 amp MCB and some other gubbins from various places, which I'm going to go and do in a minute. And then we're going to come in very early tomorrow. Not sure where I'm going to start in the morning. I might decide to do the socket, because I don't have to turn the lights off then. Might do the socket, rearrange the wiring for those two down there, get that done. Oh, one thing. This cable going up here and in there. What a bit of a surprise. That goes through directly to a bedroom next door and feeds a TV directly. So that cable comes all the way down here, all the way around here, and is plugged into there. So I am going to see what I can do about sorting that out and making that a bit neater. Let's see what we can do with that, because that's a bit silly really. Even if I was to bring that, because that's going to be a wall there. So we've got to do something with that, because it can't dangle there. So we're going to have to do something with that. Not entirely sure I know what just yet. At the very least, that cable's going to have to come through that beam in order to come down past this wall, because that's where the orange and blue is. That's a wall there, or it will be. So that can't be there. So that's going to have to move. So we'll have a think about how we can do that. At the very least, get it moved away from there and possibly plugged into there, at least temporarily. And then I'll have a think about maybe there's a way we can put a more permanent solution in. Unfortunately, at the other side of the wall, it's plastered. The cable's plastered into the wall. So pulling it out is liable to do quite a bit of damage the other side of the wall. So we'll have to have a think about that. Possibly it could be done and we could just pull it out, repair the damage to the plasterwork, put a proper double socket in that side and run a twin and earth cable. Something, maybe we could do something like that. I need to have a think about how we do that. Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise thinking about that. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. So those will be that's fine as a radial, 28 radial into there, and then teed off in there and then up there. And, you know. Anyway, so that's where we are. Like I said, spent most of the day doing testing, checking circuits and making sure I know where things are and just planning things out. So I knew that's what was going to be happening today. And then big shopping list that I needed for bits for tomorrow. So I'll be here first thing in the morning. So good morning, and so you join us as I've already started putting in the new conduit for the sockets. So we've dropped it down a bit for the horizontal because there is going to be a ceiling put in. So it's going to be lower than that. So that's as high as we can get. I think the ceiling's going to come down probably about halfway through that top brick, so I can't go any higher than that. So I'm going to come across there. So we're going to come across there and then we'll bring down into the board. Now obviously the thing I realised last night is I'm coming in on that side of the board and I've got to do a knockout. And of course I can't completely deaden this board because there's no isolator switch here. So the top of those master switches are going to be live. So I'm going to have a bit of a think about that before I go fiddling around there. But before we get there anyway, I need to start running cables into here. See it all nice and straight. Yeah, so we'll get on with that. As you can see, we've got the power off. This was scary because, as I said, I suddenly realised last night that in trying to put this in, it was going to be directly above that, which, as you can probably see, has not been the best terminated piece of equipment. Hasn't been the best terminated piece of equipment in the world. And I was crapping myself that I was going to touch those. I nearly did just a minute ago. My stray thumb, shall we say, got very close. What I had to do is, in order to give myself room to work on this, is I had to disconnect these three neutrals to give me room to get behind. As you see, there's actually a little bit of room behind there. But we've got it in. Getting the cables across will be fun in a minute. But yeah, when I look at this more closely, this part of the inspection, that's not really great either, the way that's been done. And also, if you look down there, there's no glanding there whatsoever, and the protective bar's missing in here. So all that's going to have to go down on the report. I can't replace the protective gland because to do that I'm going to have to disconnect the cables, and I can't do that unless I can kill the cable, unless I can kill the power. So I'm going to recommend an isolator switch be put in at some point in the future, and we'll go with that. So I have no idea why there's a handy block there. It's baffling. Anywho, so we've managed to do that. Let's just do that. I've got a new camera here, seeing it doesn't go into focus. That's better. We're in focus now. So we've got a handy block there. I don't know why. I'm a bit baffled by that. My guess is that this board's been moved. Anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, so we've done that. We've got our 20 MCB, which is replacing that one. We've got that, so we'll do that at a later time. But now that we've got that in, we can now get the conduit finished and the cable run through, and then we can run with that, and then we'll have a go at the lighting. Okay, let's give a bit of an update as to where we got to. So we've got that socket on the wall, 2.5mm singles are in there connected to that so they don't pull through. 20mm conduit, inspection bend coming along, 3 box, and then along there another piece of conduit. There's the singles coming down. That's the length of conduit that's been fitted into the board. That was fun. What we're doing now is we're going to put in all the cabling for the lights. Now, what I'm still trying to think of is whether I'm going to come down here with the 1.5mm to Twin and Earth, whether I am actually going to see if I can reuse this. Now, what they've done, should have shown you before, in here, what they've done, the cabling in here is coming up into here. The line is put into the switch on this piece of cable. The line then comes down here and into the other side of the switch, and the neutral and the earth are basically tied together with a chop box. So I'm going to have to try and work. I don't have a lot of room to put in a switch here. I think the switch is going to stay put. I'm just going to try and work out how I'm going to do it, or the best way to do it. And then obviously we've got junction boxes to go up there. This bit of the wall is going to be chock full of cables and junction boxes to start with, because obviously we've got the main feed coming up here, then we've got a feed that goes to this room back here, so that's an independent light which will be independently switched. Then we've got a power line that's got to come through here to this light in the main room, and we've got two lights there and there. So then we've got a power feed coming all the way along here. We've also got a power feed that's got to go along to the back room where that wall is there. There's going to be a wall across there, and there's going to be another light back there with another switch. So this area here is going to be a massive junction boxes and cables. And I'm trying to work out the best way. I've done a diagram somewhere of how to do it all. So we'll just go from there. By the way, I could have run a single length of cable, a single length of conduit across there. It would have been just over 2 meters. But it looked terrible when I did it the first time. I haven't put it on the video, but it looked horrible. Because the conduit was twisted and bent, and it just, yeah. So what I've done is I've done 2 1 meter lengths with a through box. It will look much neater. At the moment I've done that because I don't need to feed that into the box just yet, so that will connect into that T-piece. So I'm going to have a look at how I'm going to put these junction boxes in, and then we'll come back. Right, so I've got the lighting circuit switched off there. So this is what it currently looks like. So inside, okay, so we've got a lighting feed coming up, which you can see there. So that brown one coming up from there is this one. So the other one is this one going up to the light. And then as you can see, the neutrals and the earth are just blocked together. Now, I'm thinking, what if, so I don't have to muck about with the cabling that's in here already, because as you saw, in here, it's not easy to get to. What if I Wagoed all of the cables connect, this, get it right, so this cable coming up, if I Wagoed it directly to this cable, so effectively that then this feed becomes the power feed for all 3 rooms, and then we'll have to drop a 1.5 mil back down here to switch out the main part of the room. Is that as simple as we can get? I appreciate dropping 2 1.5 mil Twin and Earths down a 20 mil conduit is not ideal, but it means I think it's a better solution than trying to do it down this one. I think, and then we'll get rid of that T-piece and put a bend in, an inspection bend in there rather than a T-piece. So we've got that cable then, which will be the switch line, can come down here, and I'll reclip it so it's away from that gas pipe, which you just about see is a gas pipe there. So I'll reclip it so it's away, I'll try and keep it away from that. So that's the power feed. So the power feed will come up into the junction boxes I'm going to put in, and then the switch feed will come back to the light. So over here, what we've got, let's see if I can try and explain it. It'll make more sense when I put it up. So the main power feed now will come up into the bottom one here. The top one is going to go to the outside light. I forgot about that, the outside light. On this side, we've got a power feed that will come out of the bottom, and that'll go to this, and this is going to be where the gas room is. So that'll control the light and the switch for that. The other power feed will then come out of there into the power feed for this one, and I've lost it. And that's a power switch. Sorry. Now come into the power feed for this one, and that's for the main room. Then the power feed will come out of that one, will go along to the back room. Then the switch feed from this will then come this way down to the switch, which is here, which is over there. And the load will then go off to the 1, 2, 3 lights. It'll make sense, I think, when I get it up on the wall. I think it'll make sense then, but I think that could do it. So if I just Wago those together, then that becomes the power feed, and then I'll lay a new line, a new twin and earth back to the switch. I think that will work. Let's get those junction boxes up on the wall and let's see where we go from there. Right, let's do an update. So that is the arrangement for those junction boxes. I'll get up close and personal in a second with that. So what we've got, let's come down to the switch and to see what I've done to the switch. Focus, there we go. So hopefully you can see this. So we've got blue is the switch line. I'll brown sleeve that. The other line is the common. That's going back up the line. That's the lighter grey cable. That's the original cable, which is now going into that splitter, which is feeding the power in this quick wire switch and load. The top one, that's the load. That's going across to the existing light, which is there, and the cable coming back round, the darker blue, the darker grey one, that's the switch light. That's the switch cable, and that's coming down here back to here, and that's what goes into the base plate. Now at the back, got the earth Wagoed off there because there's no earth into the switch. In the back you can see the inline Wagos, so I've connected straight through from the consumer unit at the MCB. I've connected up the cable that was originally coming down here straight through. So all those cables, line, neutral, earth, that are now going straight through. So it makes that light grey cable the power feed. So I've been able to do that without faffing about inside the consumer unit. So that arrangement up there is now all ready for me to do the next stage. So the top feed there, that's going to go off to the PIR controlled light. I've lost myself. The power feed, continual power feed at the top of the white one, that's going to come around. That's going to come around and come across it on this board to that light and switch. So there'll be another light and switch thing. Well, of course there will be. Yeah, there'll be another light and switch there. So that'll be that. And obviously there'll be. Well, there will be a load. Actually, thinking about it, I'm just trying to think how I'm doing this. Sorry. No, sorry, got that wrong. Power feed for that will go along. It's going along to the far wall, the far room. A single light down there. The bottom part of this one underneath is going to come across here. So it's going to go across that cable. That's not much. I can't help that. And that's going to come across here. So I'm chuffed with that. So I'm pleased with that. Let's get that into focus. There we go. So that's all focused up now. Oh. See, so I'm pleased with that. So that arrangement there now allows me to put all the lights into place. So it's just which set of lights I'm going to do first. really. The outside light I'm going to do last. I can't do that today. It's pouring out the rain outside, so that can't be done. Hopefully the weather will be better tomorrow. So I'm thinking I might actually lay the line. I might lay the power cable that's going to go down to the end here. And that's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a kinetic switch. Kinetically controlled up that end. So I might lay that cable next. And then lay the cable. So that cable goes that way, then lay the cable off to the gas room. Yeah. Lay those cables in and then we'll work out where the lights are going. Okay, that's a quick recap. So what you can see now is we've hang on, where are we? Right, so we got this one. This cable here is the new cable for the back row, which I've now threaded all the way through here, and what we've got on this beam here is our transmitter unit, our RF unit, which is from Energy, and that is what's we're going to use to have a wireless switch there. So, cable comes in, and then the low cable comes out the top and goes round. It's all going to be clipped up, all nice and neat, but obviously at the moment we're just doing this temporarily, putting some temporary lights up. And we're waiting for the actual lights to arrive, and obviously, like I say, this scene is going to be boarded at that point, so this is all just temporary, but we've got to clip the cables in and make some temporary light there. So don't forget the kinetic switch is actually going down there. So we're going to finish that up first. Then what we're going to do today is we're going to take out that T and we're going to put in an inspection bend for the socket, get those cables down here and get them done. Then that's out of the way, that's finished. Obviously we'll hook this cable up into that as well. Then we're going to work on the main part of the room, which will be that light, and that light, and then decommissioning that one. And after that, we've had the outside light arrive, but it's chuck it down with rain, so we can't do that at the moment. And then we've got this one, which is the gas room light, which is going to have a PIR, which hasn't arrived, which is a real pain. That was supposed to arrive this morning and it hasn't, so we'll have to think about that one when we come to it. Right, so as you can see, we've got the receiver and the light, the temporary light, all fitted up. Plenty of, I know it looks a mess, but that cable there's plenty of slack on that cable. That's roughly, as you can see, it's new enough in halfway. It doesn't have to be exact at the moment. Just needs to be, as close as we can get it. Like I say, it's a temporary light, and we'll put the better ones in later. So we've got plenty of slack on that cable, ready for the proper lights when they arrive. But just to show you, so this is Energy. It's an alternative to Kinetics. So here's the switch, the kinetic switch, and if I just do that, look at that. It's the little things in life that make you smile, but that's brilliant. I love that. Cool. So I'm going to mount this switch on the wall behind me, do that, and then that's this circuit completed, and I can worry about this one down here. I'll do that one next. Oh, forgot just to say, this will be the longest part of the new lighting circuit. So when I do my tests on the new circuit I've put in, I'll be testing at this end here. So yeah, to get my readings and stuff, because like I say, it's the longest leg. Well, things were going well. It just shows sometimes things don't go right for electricians or anybody else for that matter. But after I shot the last scene and showed you that kinetic switch was all working nicely with that rear light, it went wrong and doesn't work at all now. So currently the light is actually permanently on at the moment. I could try something. Hang on, I'm going to try something. just for a minute. Okay, so the main light is still working and the back light has now gone off. He said something anyway, I didn't want that permanently on. So I've got to send that switch back, and that new one isn't going to arrive till tomorrow. Waited an hour setting all that lot up and got nowhere apart from put the light up. There were some choice words, I can tell you.